Greetings and welcome to PinballHelp. Mike here. Today I am working on this 1979 early solid state pinball machine, Bally Paragon. You'll notice I've got the camera in an overhead gameplay configuration, and the side camera is also pointing to this laptop with part of the backboard, and I don't have the back glass on it. And the reason for this is because I've been working on this game. There's a whole video series where I have restored this game from non-working into working condition, brought it back to the way it normally plays, and now I am taking it a step further. I am modifying the game to have a all-new, completely rewritten rule set and sound package. I'm going to take this game and I'm going to augment the existing rule set. I'm not going to retheme the game. I'm not going to change any of the graphics. What I am going to do is keep the existing rule set and add several extra features, both from a gameplay standpoint as well as from a functionality standpoint. And I'll show you what my progress has thus far and explain to you the technology and everything that's behind this. There's an ongoing series of videos in this, but basically the technology I'm using is what's called BSOS, B-S-O-S. Stands for Bally Stern OS, and it's a new technology that's been developed by a small group of people, primarily spearheaded by a guy by the name of Dick Hamill, who's up in the Northeast, and he took on the challenge of seeing if he could take an Arduino and interface it to these early solid state games and control them, and he's been successful at it, and he's redone a few different games. So now there's a small group of us developers who are collaborating and continuing to take this technology further along, modding more games and expanding it. So when this technology first became available, there was just some rough schematics of how to set it up, and so we had to wire our own boards, and I'll show you what one of these looks like. So this here is a BSOS board that I actually wired myself. This is just a breadboard with, instead of traces, on circuit boards, it's all individual wired. And this is an Arduino Nano here. You can show it over here. The screen on the right has a lower frame rate so that the displays don't flicker as much. So this is an original hand thing. It's got a switch on here because this is a non-destructive mod. You can flip one switch and have it boot to the original game code, flip it the other way, and it boots off of the Arduino. So this piggybacks onto the MPU board of early Bally and Stern solid state games, and it's a non-destructive thing. You just basically plug it in and bam, you have a whole extra rule set. It can control different soundboards and stuff like that, or you can use a completely new sound technology, such as this right here. This is called the Wave Trigger. This is available from Spark Fun, and it is a independent audio board that has 14 voice polyphony on it, so it can play 14 tracks simultaneously, and it's CD quality sound. So this is as good as anything that you can get today in any pinball machine. So you couple this with a really good set of speakers, and you have as good a sound as, maybe even better sound than anything else that's commercially manufactured. So it's pretty darn cool. And this is communicated with the Arduino over a serial line. You just plug it in, and you put your sounds on a SD card here, and you hook the 1/8 inch jack out to your speakers, and you're good to go. This thing is actually powered off of the jack here. So this basically plugs in, this would plug in right here. And these two boards, and there you have it. You completely modify the game. So there's a bunch of us that are out there working. My first project has been Paragon, taking this great Bally classic solid state game and revising it. Granted, Paragon is a great game originally. There's many of these early Bally and Stern games that probably could use a rewrite because they may not have had the best rule sets or they weren't balanced or anything. Paragon is a pretty highly regarded game. It's used in competitions. It's, nobody really has any problems with the scoring or the balance of the game. So I'm not really going to make any major changes to it. I'm just going to add some stuff to it. So it should be an improvement, but it's not really going to take away from what the game has already achieved. It's a really beautiful, great game. So let's talk about what I have done. You see the computer over here. That's running the software that programs the microcontroller. And I showed you the hand done. Now there's these boards, kits that you can get where you mount the thing on here and you plug it in. And so it's getting easier for people to buy the hardware. And there's about 4 or 5 games right now that are being modified, and expect there to be a lot more. I have probably at least 10 of these games, 10 different titles of this technology that I plan on modding. So what have I done with Paragon? Well, what you're seeing here right now is the new code completely running. There's a number of things that you'll notice. The attract mode on this game is different from the original. I've got basically 3 different attract modes going. One is the Paragon letters, and then this one is just flipping back and forth every other light on the play field. And then the third one is the Paragon up there scrolling, and this thing and the little bonus countdown thing. Again, this is all completely modifiable. Every single bit of code that this is running now is custom. It's none of the original Bally or Stern code, even down to the operating system controlling the lamps and everything. Now, it is using the hardware and the PIA controllers and all that kind of stuff, but the actual CPU is running off of the Arduino instead of the original CPU on the board. So let's talk about what I have done. Now, basically, these early solid-state games had a straightforward rule set. It was just, rack up bonus, hit a multiplier, and profit. And that's basically what it was. This game has the additional things, spell Paragon, lights special. You've got the golden cliffs up there. Every time you hit them, it increases in 2,000. You've got your inline drop targets, bonus, 2x, 3x, and then 5x up there. You've got your drop targets over here on the right, that every time they go down, it increases a value from 10,000 to 25,000 and then to special. And, that's essentially it. There's different little things. So what I've done is I've added a few extra things to the game. One of the things that I've done is I have created a couple of secret things, like these drop targets. If you knock all of them down, obviously you get whatever is lit. But if you knock them down in a certain sequence, you get double that. So if you hit them from the bottom, middle, and top in that sequence, you get double the amount. So that's kind of an extra little thing if you want to try to play at a higher level. I've also added a skill shot and a ball save to this. So let's start a game up and I'll show you the skill shot. Now, one of the things you will not hear is sound. I don't have the sound integrated yet, but I have been working on the sound, for at least 2 weeks. I've got all kinds of friends. We've been doing voice things. We've been designing scripts. Sound is really not easy. You know what I mean? It's tedious. And what I want to do is I don't want to use sound clips that you could find on the net, because it's hard to tell, who really owns them. Even those free sites that say it's royalty-free stuff, you don't know whether or not they just collected somebody else's stuff. And I don't want to put together a package and then have somebody accuse me of infringing on their copyright. So my goal is to try to create all of my own sounds, which is no easy feat. Luckily, I'm better equipped than most because I do have a studio and I know how to do the production, the Pro Tools, and all that. But finding the voice talent, figuring out doing the scripting and all that, I'm going to do another video just about that. So let's start a game. And the first thing you'll see right away is this interesting little animation here. This is just something that I decided to do during the skill shot mode. So there's a skill shot now. You'll notice the special blinks and then the 20 blinks. And if you get the ball in one of those holes when it's blinking, you get either 20,000 or special. Now you might say looks like a pretty easy skill shot, but there's switches up here, and if you hit any of the switches, you will not get the skill shot. Skill shot mode will turn off. So you have to actually soft plunge the ball into one of the saucers without hitting any of the other switches, which is not necessarily easy, especially doing it at the right time. Now, the skill shot also timed out, so it's not even happening right now. See, that might have been it, but that would have been quite hard to get it. So another thing you'll notice is there's a ball save. The ball save is pretty short right now, but as soon as the first switch is hit, As soon as the first switch is hit, you'll see this start to blink, and there's a ball save. I'll show you. So now I'll see the ball save, and it's blinking on the back box too. So if the ball goes down, oops, it actually got hung up before it rolled. So let me do that again. Let me demonstrate the ball save. So ball save is happening. I'm on ball 3. I get the ball back. So there's a ball save now. You can set how long it is and all of that. And you'll notice no sound, nothing yet, but I'm working on the sound, and when the sound is implemented, it's going to be even better. So those are some of the extra features, but I've got a new feature that I just implemented, which is called, I think I'm going to call it Beast Mode, because there's a beast here, Beast Lair, right? The Beast Mode is where you try to hunt the beast, right? So the way this mode works is when you knock down all 3 of the drop targets, and of course everything stacks, so the game is still playing completely normal the way it would, but there's this additional beast mode that you can stack on top of it if you knock all 3 of these drop targets down. So let me just show you what happens when you do that. All right, so now beast mode is implemented. You see how these lights are flashing? This light is flashing, these lights are flashing, then they're flashing up there. Now the G is flashing. Actually, it's going pretty fast. I need to time that and make it a little bit slower, because that's pretty darn fast. It's supposed to stay on 1 for about 4 seconds. And it looks like it's staying on it not quite that long. But if you hit the stand-up targets, it will reset them a little bit longer, see? So if you hit the thing while the beast mode is going on, right now I've got it just fire the knocker, and it awards 25,000 points plus some extra points if you make it. So that's a neat feature here, where once you knock these drop targets down, beast mode happens, and it moves from there to here to there to here to, and this is the upper drop target. That's one of the spinners. This is the lower drop target you have to hit, and you have to golden cliffs. So it moves around quite a bit, and you'll see you have to, if you hit it, you get those points. I think it's moving quite fast. I'll have to tweak that. And that's kind of the thing with this game. You know, you're constantly tweaking things here and there, and it'll time out. I think it's after 45 seconds it'll time out. And but if you hit either of the stand-ups, it should stay on that a little bit longer. Just one time. See, it stays on a little bit longer. Now the mode timed out. So that's my beast mode. Now every time you complete one of these shots at the beast and you get them, the reward gets bigger, and the reward you get for attacking the beast increases every time the beast pop bumpers hit. It increases by 500 points, 100 points for every time one of these are hit, and 50 points for every time the slingshots hit. So it starts off with a base amount of 25,000 plus however much play has been happening on that ball. So if you've got a bunch of hits to the beast layer pop bumper, the value will be even higher. And I've been trying to figure out, you know, how could I qualify the mode? How could I start it? Different options. I decided on this, but I could do something where it's X number of pop bumper hits that starts the mode, you know, and then I could be like maybe hitting the center thing to start it, you know, to qualify and start it. I don't know. You know, there's all kinds of different options. In this case, you know, you're dealing with a static playfield design, so you can't really, you can't move things around. Or at least I'm not going to redesign the playfield just for this. I want to work with the existing. So you can see I'm adding some extra features. I don't want these things to unbalance the game, so they're going to be a little bit hard to get to if you want to get to them, because I still want this game to be able to play normally like it would. And you'll also notice there's some other interesting features in the diagnostics and stuff like that, and I'll have to show that in another video. So the next time I probably do another video of this, I'll be demonstrating the sound, and I'll be showing off what my plans are for the sound, and that's going to be pretty exciting. It seems pretty boring right now just playing it without the sound, without the feedback. But I've got all different kinds of callouts. I'm really going to go nuts with the callouts because this board has the capability of doing over 2,000 different sound files. So I'm going to take advantage of that, and I'm going to do some homages to other games. I'm going to add a little bit of humor in here. So I think you're going to find Paragon is not going to be your typical game after this modification is done. So stay tuned for more, and visit PinballHelp.com. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, YouTube/PinballHelp, and I'm on Twitter at PinballHelp, as well as Instagram and all that. And until next time, thanks for watching.